Hey everyone, this is Jess, aka Sketchwriter Jess. I'm here today to do an interesting reading. It's a dream interpretation reading. So, I'll be going through symbols and thinking of the different elements of astrology. You know, you have fire, air, water, earth. What those influences have in your dreams. If you feel like you want to support this channel, you can visit my shops. The links are in the description below. I also have a link to the shop where I got the quartz crystals from. The selenite I got somewhere that I don't think the store exists anymore, so I don't even remember what it was called, but it was a nice new age shop. So I've got all that information down there. So I'm going to start shuffling the cards. So, one other thing to mention about this is a reminder of the veil between the living and the people who've passed on. So it's like the veil between the spirit world and the people who've passed on. It's possible some ancestor messages might come in. Sometimes they're from my ancestors, but they're the kind of thing that people will resonate with, so it's not like that's just for me. So I'll get started shuffling the cards. Actually, it looks better if I do it this way. If you see the table shake, that's because I tend to bang the table when I'm shuffling. I'll try not to do that. I know it probably freaked you out in one of the other videos, or I did it. So Spirit, what can our ancestors and spirit guides tell us about dreams and how we can interpret them to help us release and let go of things that no longer serve us? I think a lot of people don't realize how much their dreams mean something. The thing is with dreams, it's like it kind of like regurgitates everything that happened during the day, everything that was in your head during the day, but it's trying to give you some relief from the actual pain by giving you symbols to interpret. But sometimes it doesn't work because you may have done something like you ate something that gave you a stomach problem or something. So like when they try to give you the symbols, it's like it goes wrong because your body's kind of like inflamed. Sometimes eating really late at night can cause this, and I'm really guilty of this. I tend to eat late at night, so could be a real problem if you do too. So I'm going to pull 3 cards from this ancestor deck here. What I call the ancestor deck. It's actually the Keepers of the Light by Kyle Gray. Okay, there's 1. There's 2. And 3. Alright. Let me see if any of them are reversed. Yeah. So I think I had the deck reversed. I did one on my own that was like a personal practice reading, and they were reversed. They were all reversed, and so I knew that the deck had been reversed somehow. So that's not quite right. Not with that deck. That you don't read them reversed. It's more supposed to be like if they're reversed, you're supposed to pay attention to them extra. So we're going to be paying attention to them anyways a lot through this, so I just turned them upright. This is the Spirit Within deck. I'm going to give each pile 2 of these, because with dream symbols it's good to have more symbols than just one. Also from these I can tell kind of like who the sex is that's thinking of, you know, the male or female, masculine, feminine energy, who's thinking of it. So, you know, like if it's predominantly men, it's probably a man. Although it can be a woman thinking of the man that she loves, or thinking of a man in her family that she needs to connect with somehow. It depends on what the cards say. Sometimes I get family messages and other times I get love messages. So it just depends on what's going on with spirit, what they feel like needs to be relayed. You know, one thing is that my base is interesting. I have a lot of people who browse my channel incognito, so like I know they're browsing and I have their info like saying they're there, but I can't get like the actual handle on the actual people. So it's very interesting energy, you know. So this is kind of weird, but I'm very happy to have subscribers I have who are willing to take a chance on me and see what's up. I know it changes a lot, so that can be kind of tough. Okay, so now the next deck I'm using is the last deck. It's Square Deal playing card. It turns out these are no longer being printed. They're discontinued. What I like about them is that they're playing cards, but you can read them reversed, because if you turn them sideways they look different than they do if they're upright. On a regular playing card it's always one way. You'd have to actually flip the card over, you know, you'd have to turn it on its side to read it reversed, which doesn't really work. So I like these cards because of that. I also did one other thing with these. This card that came with 4 jokers, and I had originally just 2 in there. Oh, that flipped up. 4 of Wands upright. Okay. Perhaps some of you are thinking of marriage, or thinking of stability, maybe even buying a house. Sometimes, you know, 4 is like the home card. You could think of the 4th house in the natal chart. That's one thing. Cancer is the 4th sign. But it's wand energy, so the clubs are wands. So I'm thinking it's most likely 4 of Wands energy, which is kind of like the start of a new life, start of a marriage, start of living in a new home. I think somebody is starting a new marriage, or somebody could be starting a new marriage and they're buying a new home. So congratulations on that. But anyways, the 4 jokers, I have one that I made into a fool, one that I made into the world, one that I made into the sun, and one I made into the death card, because it's birth and life. So I feel that that's important. Those are like the most important major arcana cards in my opinion. All the other ones, I have to admit, kind of muddy it up for me. I try to read them right, but sometimes they get on my nerves. But it's just a learning process. So and each of these cards here, the Keepers of the Light, well, except for the middle one, we'll get a clarifying card. Okay. Alright. So, I don't usually pull clarifiers on my work anymore. I feel like these playing cards really clarify things well. So, unless there's something that's absolutely throwing me, then I most likely will not be pulling clarified cards. But now that I just brought that up, something tells me something is coming up that I don't know. And I might have to clarify. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is put these piles together, and you'll be able to choose from the two piles, or you have the other option of watching the whole reading, because the whole reading may have everything that you need, or it may have like lots of things to choose from. I like to think of my readings as being for everybody, meaning everybody can watch it. Well, you know, adults. I mean, sometimes I curse, so it's not really for children, but anybody 18 and up will get the most benefit from it. Kid would probably be like, what is she talking about anyways? So, but I don't make my videos for kids. I know YouTube is trying to figure that out. It has something to do with the advertising or something like that. They're not supposed to advertise to kids. So, I mean, so I understand. That makes sense. I mean, they could be real susceptible to stuff. Anyways, what I like to do is, you can focus on pile on the left, focus on the pile on the right, or if your eye guides you to the center, put that down a little bit. If it guides you to the center, then that means you may be called to watch the whole reading. Usually my readings last about at least an hour. Each of the piles takes 30 minutes, plus I have a beginning pull card and an ending message. Not the wrap up, which is different. That's a different thing. And I don't know if there'll be a wrap up. I don't know until the end of this video. Okay, so I'm going to be quiet now, and you can focus and pick one pile or choose to watch both. Okay, so now we're going to start with the first card. Oh, Bridget. Okay. Bridget, inner strength, move back to wholeness. Recognize that you have the power. Okay. So I could be in touch with some female ancestors here. Usually when this card comes up, one of my ancestors comes in. She could be helping with this. So it could be, you know, any of your ancestors, anybody who was real fiery, anybody who had a lot of words to say, a lot of angst, but I don't know if angst is the right word. Like somebody who was real passionate in their speech, passionate in how they lived. We have a lot of green here. Now she's supposed to be Irish, so that's part of it. But I'm thinking of green chakras. That's the heart chakra. Again, we have Cancer, the fourth sign. Home is where the heart is. Something about home. So people are probably thinking of home. They're dreaming of their relatives coming in and visiting. So, I mean, that could be what's going on. That's what I'm thinking. So, now I'm going to put pile 2 aside. And we'll get started with pile 1. Move that here. Okay. We have, oh sorry. Lady Venus, downloads and understanding, truth is being revealed, deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. That's good. Okay. Maybe you have an ancestor that looks like this person, a blonde, blue-eyed. I actually do have a relative that looks kind of like her when she was younger. That's interesting. Oh, let me turn this up. It's up to... I don't know what's going on here. Okay, we have it set there. Okay, I'll move these here so you can see this card. Okay. So, we have the Knight of Swords. So that's here. So perhaps we're thinking of a man could be who you're thinking of, or this could be a man's dream, a man having a dream. There's some turquoise in that. I'm picking up December babies. December turquoise is the birthstone of December. She has this blue stone here. That's not a turquoise. I mean, that could be kind of like a lapis of some sort, maybe. Okay, so I'm thinking December babies for some reason. So I think I know what it is. It may be one of my other ancestors. My dad was born in December, so maybe it's a person who was my grandmother at one time. Okay, so the next card is King of Wands in reverse. Okay. So that's... So there could be a man that I'm reading for here. Either a woman is dreaming of a man, or a man is who I'm reading for. Now the clarifiers. We have the Two of Pentacles for Lady Venus. Two of Diamonds is the Pentacles. If you think of that, diamonds are a material item. Pentacles are all about material goods and abundance. We have the Seven of Spades reversed. So this is like the hurdle that the person has to get over. Spades or swords. So that's under the Knight of Swords. That's interesting. It just kind of like amplifies it. And then for the King of Wands, we have the Five of Wands as the clarifier. The clubs are wands. You think of clubs as like hitting somebody in the head. A club. To me, when I see the club, it makes me think of fire, like a flame. So that's how I see it. But, you know, fire energy. Okay, so got the clear quartz here. And this will be used later in this reading to hone in on one of the cards and see what to focus on the most. So it appears that I have two of my ancestors here, and they are going to tell me something. I think it's gonna be interesting. I don't think it has to do with me, but I think it's like some sort of parable, I think. So hopefully everybody will get something from this. And I'll be right back. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is open up to the page that Lady Venus is on, and I will just pick one thing to talk about. I'm not going to read it out to you. I may read just a little bit just to let you know who she is, but she's a light being. Kind of like angels. So I'm going to pick a message here. We have light beings. Light beings. Read that sentence there. The light beings of Venus, known as Venetians, are now coming to light workers on Earth to help them with their connections, understanding, and capacity to share divine love. Okay, that's very interesting. Very interesting. So, with the Two of Pentacles here, to clarify this, I think there are people who are torn between two passions, possibly two men. We have two men here. But passions, I mean, they could be anything. They could be business. They could, with pentacles here, I'm thinking business, okay? So somebody perhaps is thinking of businesses, and there are these two masculine figures here. These could actually be symbols, more like symbols rather than the actual people that are dreaming of these things. But with female ancestors here, I'm thinking it's women and they dream of men. The Two of Pentacles is all about juggling too much, too many responsibilities. And when this comes up, I kind of think of somebody who kind of dabbles in a little this and a little bit of that. So it also has to do with recreation. And since it's upright, it's almost like it's saying you need to take time for yourself. You need to have fun. You need to do things that are fun. And I have to say, that's one thing that's hard for me. I tend to get really into my work, whether I'm doing this or I'm doing my jewelry. I tend to get really in there, and I forget to do that. This could also be a message to anybody who's a light worker, or they may think they're a light worker and they're really wondering if they are. Like maybe they think that their psychic abilities are not developed, or like, you know, oh, this can't really be real. Well, this could be a sign to you, a message to you that you are a light worker and you do have psychic abilities. And that's something I have to admit has been something that I've been trying to figure out recently with my history, which I think I'll go into in the wrap up. So if you want to stick around for that, you can. But anyways, for whoever this could be for, I'm thinking people watching this could be light workers. So let's get into these energies here with the masculine, these masculine figures here. These two particular cards come up a lot in my work now, so there's definitely a message with these that perhaps my ancestors are trying to tell me. In this deck, the Knight of Swords is ready to fight. He's on guard. He's ready to throw down at a moment's notice. I see the Knight in this card as being somebody in their 30s, maybe early 40s. he's kind of like rough around the edges. And of course, you know, swords, air sign. It doesn't have to be an air sign that you're thinking of, though. It can just be air energy. Somebody who's really creative, somebody with a gift of words, a really charming. I'm getting here that somebody believes the sky is their sunshine. They've been thinking about him, and he brings them light. So let's clarify that. I mean, as a symbol, it could be the passion that's bringing you light. Passion in your business. We've got the Two of Pentacles here. So it could be the thing that brings you light. So like maybe if you're a writer, maybe writing is something that you're really passionate about. Any kind of communication. I mean, it could also be even doing something like YouTube, because Mercury rules Gemini, which is an air sign. So that's technology and communication. So it could be a sign, you know, like that, you know, it's good to do something over the airwaves, perhaps. Literally airwaves. Being on air, being on YouTube. It's kind of different than television, I guess, because everybody has their own way of doing things, and there's nothing really, no major rules. And so you kind of get to create your own little corner of the universe. So, I mean, that's kind of cool, and I have to admit that's something I like about YouTube. So let's clarify this. We have the Seven of Swords here, reversed. Seven of Swords, I always... Oh, now I know. Okay. The Seven of Swords has to do with, in my opinion, it's people gathering themselves together. A lot of people see this as what they call the deception card. I never understood that. In this deck, in this deck here, the Spirit Within, there is a guy, and he looks deceptive, and he's like taking the swords away. So, like in this deck, it might be deception, but since we're clarifying with the playing card, I think whoever this is for, there's a message here saying you have found your passion. You've gathered yourself together and you found it. You have what it takes to do what you want to do for a career. And so if that's resonating with you, I'd say it's another message saying you know, go for it. Go for whatever it is you want to do. If you want to have a YouTube channel and you know, tell people your thoughts on things. It could be anything. It could be spiritual. It could even be things like fiction writing. I don't really see Sagittarius energy, except now that I think about it, I got December here. Part of December is people born in a sign of Sagittarius, so it could even be things where you're teaching people. You're teaching different things to people. So that's a message. And now I'm going to pick this guy up. So we have the King of Wands reversed. To me, who I'm reading for could be feminine energy, you know, more receptive. It's just energy, okay? It doesn't have to be a man or a woman. King of Wands is very masculine energy. This is somebody who could be masculine, but they've become more receptive. They've listened to the women in their lives. And they've grown up, so to speak. I'm going to turn this upright because it's easier to channel. You see, this guy here, he's a fighter. And this guy has already fought. He's already won the battle. Reversed, it could be kind of like he's still fighting. The person still feels like they're fighting the battle. They haven't won yet. So let's clarify that. And I believe this really sums up what I just said. The Five of Wands is what I call the play battle card, like the play war, play fighting card. In the regular deck, like in Rider Tarot, which is like the universal for everything, they have these people fighting, but they're like kind of playing around. And I feel like this guy hasn't quite grown up yet. The person I'm reading for, either they like fell for somebody who hasn't grown up yet, or it could be they themselves who still have some growing up to do. When it comes to business, maybe there's still things they need to learn. You know, it's almost like it's saying playtime is over. And now I'm going to clarify because I want to see, is playtime over? So I'm going to, you know, which way is playtime going? Oh, there. Okay. And I'm going to clarify with another card. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So, I'm gonna move that down there. And we'll move this here, and I'll put the new ones in the space here, so we can see them all together. Psst. The Justice reversed. Oh, jeez. Okay. I don't know. I don't like seeing the Justice card. It just, there's something about it I don't like. It's like the law, you know. Law, I always, you know, I don't do anything bad, but like I'm always kind of like, the law kind of rubs me the wrong way. You know, that whole doing everything by the book kind of rubs me the wrong way. Okay, this is Three of Pentacles reversed. Oh, that's interesting. So Three of Diamonds is Three of Pentacles. So we got Justice here, and Justice is upside down. I think I said upside down because it's like things aren't just. Things still feel rocky. They feel like they're unbalanced. He's got a sword. So we could have air energy again. Look at the sky. With this card, somebody wants to do something rebellious, I think. Somebody speaks their truth and they want to do something rebellious. And then this is the Three of Pentacles reversed. In the traditional deck, the Three of Pentacles is about people in a higher position, like, you know, patrons, rich patrons patronizing artists, the men building churches, that kind of thing. Women building something, you know. But when it's reversed, it's kind of the opposite. It's like somebody who's doing things bootstrap. They're doing things on a shoestring budget. Now I know my ancestor, one of my ancestors coming in, because she lived on a shoestring budget. She grew up in the Depression. I think what's being said here, if you take all of these in, I think it's saying that whoever this is for, they've got to just do what they feel is right. And I think we have this Two of Pentacles here. And it's like reminding us to stop juggling everything. And like pick a few things to work on. And perhaps even hone your craft. But it also reminds us to have fun as well, like have fun while you're doing everything. What I'm getting with this card, the play fighting card, I'm getting is somebody is battling something and making something way worse than it needs to be. They need to put down the wand. They need to put down, you see he's upside down here. You know, they need, if they want everything to go right side up again, they gotta lay down the wand, lay down the sword, and surrender to the situation, surrender to things not going as planned. Dare I say, even needing to play fight, needing to spar with somebody. That is an air sign thing, and it's a fire sign thing. Those two things are things that those signs do. So it's interesting that we have the fire signs and the air signs coming up here. Yeah, somebody needs to play more. They need to do things with other people. This guy, to me, the King of Wands, always seems like he's alone. I'm going to turn him up now. It's just easier to channel. It's like he always seems like he's alone. He's at the top. He's alone but not lonely. Okay? And I think upside down, it's like the person is alone and they're lonely. But in order to get past that, they need to embrace this competition and play. The passion for play, the passion for enjoying life. You know, it's not all about business. And sometimes people use business as a way to suppress other feelings about stuff like love. You know, like they're tired of being in love with somebody who just doesn't, who's just not working, not giving them what they need. Or they've fallen for somebody and it's not working out. It's different than what they thought it would be. And so they just want to take their mind off it. I think that what you have to do is, if you're having dreams about doing something for you, then you need to like really honor that. Like if there's some kind of messages, like signs, like somebody is doing something that you like to do, you know, like there may be like somebody in your dream doing something you enjoy and you go join them. I'm just getting that for some reason. Honestly, I don't have dreams like that, but I do have waking dreams like that, where I'm awake. And, you know, I'm thinking of people, want to hang out with them, that kind of thing. Like, I just imagine having a good time with them, you know. I think it's time for the crystal. Okay. Three of Pentacles reversed. So yeah, somebody here needs to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. Not rely on anybody to save them. Not rely on higher-ups to pay their way. And the way to do that is to find the fun that will keep them energized so that they can work. They can work on what they want to work on. I don't see any 8s here. So I think the person that's in this situation is not doing what they're doing for money. Although there are 2 Pentacles cards here, so there could be a thing with like thinking about money, thinking about what to do. I'm gonna do the Celenite message now. Wow, the Celenite like wants to jump out of my hand. It's a delicate message of some sort. Honor yourself, love yourself as any man would love you. So if anybody's thinking of a guy and they're thinking about all the love they can give you, you have to like give that love to yourself first. So I guess we can go back to Bridget here. Bridget, the person, you know, the person that this is based on is a Celtic goddess kind of person. She's a real person. She lived in Ireland, and she was kind of a bridge between the Irish Celtic people and the Christians who were there. They say in the book that you need to call on the flame. And I think that's true for this. I think you have to call on your inner flame, the inner desire to do something. And it's not saying to forget a person. It's more like saying to remember yourself and the things that made you happy. And if somebody isn't giving you those things, if they're putting up barriers to those things, then you need to find a way to let them go. Surrender to the letting go. Burn it away if you have to. Okay? Like think about somebody left something behind and you don't want it there. And so you just think of burning it, like burning a flame and making it go away. You can have that as an image in your meditation. So I mean, if there are things that are really tough for you right now, and you know you're like, I'm tired of this. This is not helping me. This is really tough. You can sit and meditate and imagine somebody, you know, they've left something behind that you don't want, and they left it and like they're not coming back for it. So there's no harm done if you get rid of it. There's no harm done if you burn it away. And you can burn it away and it'll light the way for a new thing to come in. And this can work with anything. This can work with, you know, a person that's, you know, really getting on your nerves. You know, don't think of hurting the person themselves. It's more like let's say you had like a thought, right? You wrote it down on a piece of paper, something they said or something they did. You write it on a piece of paper. And you imagine like writing that on the paper. Or you could write it in a journal or something. You imagine that thought and you imagine the paper and you imagine it burning away. And like a flame burning that away and bringing in the new stuff. That is, I think, the best way to deal with blockages right now. So, I think with this dream, it was all about blockages. It was all about things getting in the way. And working and continuing despite that. Like removing the obstacles. So that's what I've got for you for this reading. And then I'll be back with pile 2. Take care and blessings. Okay, I'm going to clean this up and make way for pile 2. Put Bridget back. Okay, pile 2. I'll reveal the cards for you, and then I'll start with a message from Bridget. So, really? I got this the other day when I was doing a reading. Serapis Bay, Ascension. Move into your true self. Rise above the darkness. The light is here. Oh boy, that's weird. Okay. Next one. Death. Next one. 10 of Wands. Reversed. Okay. To clarify these, we have 6 of Wands. Reversed. For Serapis Bay here. We have 9 of Wands reversed for death. And we have 9 of Cups for the 10 of Wands card. Oh, okay. So, this is interesting, guys. See if we can get a message here from Bridget. Light the fire within. Make sure you follow your passion. Always fight for your dreams. I'm gonna look up Serapis Bay here, and I'll pick something out. There he is. Sense of presentation. Okay, there's always room for improvement. There's also a sense of presentation now. You may be receiving documentation or certification to acknowledge your growth or experience. You know what I'm getting here? I'm getting here somebody was in school. Somebody could have been in school. You know, there could be Sagittarius energy here. 9 of Wands. Wands is a fire sign, and Sagittarius rules the 9th house, and it's all about learning and education. 6th house is Virgo. That's all about service, work and service. Again, we're getting the message to play a little. 6 of Wands is when it's upright, it's about fame, kind of like 15 minutes of fame. When it's reversed, I think it's more like keep your head down and work. But also, since it's Virgo, I think of it as Virgo, that's what I'm getting, that's what I need to say. That this is saying, let down your hair. Okay? Move into your true self. So when you have your hair down, that's your true self. Remember that. Now we have death. The obvious is, okay, somebody could have passed on. I don't get that with this card. Although you may have ancestors visiting you in your dreams. There's a woman here, so you could have a female ancestor. She looks very composed. Her hair's short. She could be somebody that you looked up to, a mother figure, maybe even a grandmother figure, because she looks like she really could be anywhere from late 30s to up maybe 50s, 60s. Could be even older. See these gravestones here. Something about the gravestones. Something about windows. They look kind of like those church windows. See, in churches they have like that archway. Perhaps she's saying she was there at the church. She saw everybody crying and she doesn't want anybody to be upset anymore. She's moved on. She crossed the bridge and she moved on. And that's the message I'm getting. And I believe it was a church. There's a cross here. They want me to point out the cross. So I don't know who that message is for. Getting an M name. The person's name was Margaret or something like that. Or the person that's supposed to get the message has an M name. I'm not sure. Okay. Oh, and I need to clarify that, but first I'm going to go here. Ten of Wands is releasing of burdens, okay? When it's reversed like this, it's the release of the burdens. All these rods here, these wands fall away. One by one. Sometimes, if you're lucky, they all go away at once. With the Death card, they could possibly all go away at once. Because it's like a sudden, death can be sudden. Sorry, I'm like chewing on something here. Sorry about that. Death is sudden. And, somebody suddenly died. Now, they're in heaven now. They've released any burdens they had on earth. And they're now safely with their family. Now, who else I'm reading for? Okay, they were just in school and they graduated. Oh my. Okay, another ancestor came in. I'm just gonna okay. But this message could be for anybody. We have the Nine of Wands reversed for the Death card. Nine of Wands, when it's upright, is the Wounded Warrior card. Somebody who's faced a lot of pain in their life. Maybe even was in the military. They could have been in the military. They could have had a very tough, physically tough life. Violent life even. When it's reversed like this, it's like saying there's no more violence, there's no more pain. So whoever I'm reading for, they had a really tough life. Maybe somebody graduated military school. Maybe somebody graduated military school and their military relative is coming in and congratulating them. That's possible. So if you're in the military, you were like graduating as an officer, congratulations. It's possible that's what's going on. So we have the Nine of Cups here, and this is upright. Nine of Cups is all about wishes come true. Somebody's wishes are going to come true, or they already have come true. The Ten of Wands down like that. And we've got the Death card. Your wishes could suddenly come true. Okay, so whoever this is for, you've been wishing about something. I'm seeing the 9 here and a 9 here. I'm thinking of something that has to do with school. Something about graduating school. And you want to get the job. And you're like, really, really want the job. Well, you know, it's possible you'll get the job. I don't like predicting usually, but it's possible that like all your wishes could come true. Don't take my word as gospel, please. I'm not God, so I mean, like, just you know, use your discernment. But yeah, somebody may be a Virgo. That's what I'm getting. Even though this is the Six of Wands, it's fire energy. I'm getting 6 Virgo. That's what I'm feeling right now. And 9 Sagittarius. 6 of Wands, I mean, anyways, is about work. So, I mean, it is almost like a Virgo card, in my opinion. But of course, you know, you could say that the 6 is also for Sagittarius or Aries. You know, they tend to work really hard. I mean, Leo works hard too, but they do it differently. So I think, like, if it was fire signs, I'm thinking of, again, I'm getting Sagittarius. So I could be reading for Sagittarius as well. Virgos and Sagittarius, even though there's no pentacles here. There's Earth in this picture. And there's Earth in this picture. In fact, it looks like a desert. They look like deserts, actually. They remind me of Arizona. Funny, the guy who created this deck lives in England. But to me, these cards are so American. So the 10 of Wands, we'll keep that reversed. Trying to think if there's anything else I really want to say. Got the crystal here. I feel like this message is short and sweet. Anytime you have something to say that all your wishes could come true suddenly, seems like there's not really much to expand on. I mean, maybe I can expand on the type of wish it is. Since I had a clarifier, and I had clarifiers in the previous deck and previous one, I'll do that too for this one. So I'm gonna pick one of these tarot cards. They're slippery little guys. Ah, a jumper. Oh, there we go. Always wanted to do that. It happens once in a while, but I'm still learning to shuffle. Okay. So we'll move Bridget down here. Don't worry, she'll come back. Okay. We'll move Serapis down here, okay? So we'll put all these guys together. Knight of Wands. Okay. Interesting. And then we have 7 of Cups. Oh. Okay, so the type of wish here. I'm thinking, yeah, it could be somebody in the military. Somebody who does something physical. Knight of Wands is a very physical guy. Could be a woman too. You know, I'm picking up woman here. Somebody, you know, even with the Death card, she looks like she could have been a military woman. So, I mean, I'm getting like a military presence here. There's something with that. I'd say with the Knight of Wands, physical action, kind of like goes from place to place, darts in and out of life, of other people's lives. Seven of Cups is the memory card. That's the card where people celebrate their little victories, the small victories, and then, you know, try to make sense of all of it. I think who I'm dealing with here, what their dream is they're trying to string everything together. There's an obstacle course. There's somebody who's dreaming of one of those military obstacle courses with the tires. And they're like jumping in the tires and they keep fearing that they're going to fall down. So they're like doing that. They're like in their dream, they're fearing they're going to fall. They like jump in the tires. You have to jump in them or jump over them or something like that. I think you jump in them. You kind of like put one foot in one foot in the other. You have to kind of like straddle them a little bit. And they're doing that. See, look how this guy, you see him? You see how he's standing? You see that? That's a good reminder now, a good symbol for this one. A tire jumper. This person, man or woman, I'm thinking it could be a woman, is doing something with the military, or they're doing something like a fireman, you know, firefighter job. They may have things like that. That's all I can think of, is because I'm thinking, you know, having to like climb buildings and all that kind of stuff. There may be things like that. So this person is afraid they're gonna fall. And it's not just fall in terms of like falling flat on their face physically. They're afraid they're gonna fall, trip and fall, and that'll be the end of everything. I mean, we have the death card, so like somebody is nervous that, you know, it's gonna be the death of their career. But here's the thing, you've got the release of burdens, and you've got the Nine of Cups, which is wishes come true. So in this instance, I'm thinking the person needs to think, well, what if I do fall? What's the worst that can happen? And really what they need to do is actually write down what the worst that can happen is. They need to just face it. They need to write down all those things that they're afraid is going to happen. Oh, I'll lose the job. Oh, I won't get in. I won't get this. I won't get that. And then it's like they gotta like think, well, what if I can get this? What if I can get that? You know, have like a list of like what you're afraid of, the things that you are thinking you're gonna get, and then have the things that if things worked out you would get. Like what would your perfect idea of something working out be? What would it be? Just, you know, focus on those things. Whoever I'm channeling this for, I'm thinking that that you are nervous that you're gonna work and you'll pass the test, but you won't be able to follow through the actual battle. That you're gonna get to battle and you're gonna be nervous. You won't be able to fight. It's a blockage of some sort. You need to go back through your memories. You see the Seven of Cups here. You need to think of just small victories. And there'll be one that stands out. And when you're afraid that you're not going to be able to fight, when you're afraid, this could be for anybody. It doesn't have to be military, but the person has a fighting spirit. When you're afraid you're not going to fight, you got that blockage. You look at that one victory and you say, I can do this. I can do it. I can get through this. I can face the fear and I can do this. I'm also picking up somebody who could be like an exercise instructor, yoga instructor. Yoga, you know, with releasing all the burdens, yoga is perfect for this setup here. You know, anybody who has to be certified for something. I think you may have already passed the test, but now you want to get a job and you want to make sure you can fulfill the job. And I think that that is something that you're always going to be faced with until you actually get the job and you keep the job. As I said, you know, with this, you may have to keep your head down and be a part of the team for a while until you can stand out again. It's all this wand energy. I'm thinking of somebody who wants to stand out in a crowd, but especially if you're in the military, you got to follow the rules. You got to, it could be dangerous to go out on your own. You have to follow the rules. You have to stick with the platoon. You got to make sure that you follow the rules, or else you could get everybody in trouble. You could cause problems. That's what I'm getting. If somebody is really fighting this, they're having this fight in themselves about fighting in the military. They want to go off on their own. They want to do things on their own, and they're stuck with some kind of decision that they have to make. And that's what I got on that. Oops, smoky quartz. Okay. So we're going to do the quartz message here. Okay. So yeah, this guy here. It all comes back to being your true self and letting your hair down. You know, maybe this person in the military doesn't want to be in the military. Maybe they're fighting themselves. They're feeling constricted. Maybe they're in the military because, you know, they have a line of family that have been in the military, and they're finding that it's not for them. If it's not for you, then you need to get out. That's a tough decision to make. Either you want to leave, or you're nervous that you're not going to be able to fulfill the job. You have to be clear on which one it is. Once you find that out, then you can do more work on yourself in terms of journaling and figuring out the things that you want, things that you don't want. The law of attraction, I'd say in something like that, it's hard because, you know, in military, you're like, the goal is to defend your country by having to fight. And somebody is thinking about the law of attraction. They're thinking about spiritual stuff, and it's conflicting with their military service. That's a tough decision to make, and you're gonna have to make it. I can't help you with that. All I can do is give you just what I said. You know, journaling, maybe even a therapist. If you go talk to a therapist online, that's probably the best way to deal with this. Okay, just getting chills, so somebody needed to hear that. Quartz. Okay, that's not what I want to pick up, but here's a selenite here. And Somebody needs to think about where they are going. Going to home or going to somewhere far off in the distance. When you understand where you're going to go, you will be where you need to be. One of those messages. Okay. So Bridget, I'll tell you guys what I said in the other one about the flame. You write down things in your journal, and you write them down, and they're things that you want to get rid of, the things you don't want to deal with anymore. And when you sit down and pray or you meditate or whatever you like to do, you think of a fire and you think of like tossing those things that you don't want around into the fire. And that attracts the new things, and that attracts the good stuff in. And, you know, if you're in the military, to think of it in those terms of just like chucking something into a bonfire instead of thinking like burning it in a candle. You know, it's different. It's different for everybody. If you're more comfortable thinking of a bonfire, think of a bonfire. If you're more comfortable thinking of a candle, if you're using a candle, you can do that. It's really important that it's really a visual thing, like in your head, in your mind's eye. Because if you don't get clear on something like that, you're going to be in way more pain than you ever thought possible. And that's a bad way to live. So, hope you got something from this, everybody. I'm going to have a wrap up. And probably talk a little bit about this reading and things that I've learned just about me too. So if you're only into the reading, then I'll see you next time. Take care and blessings. Hi everyone, this is Jess, aka Sketchwriter Jess. That was an interesting reading, wasn't it? Pile 1 seems to always be for me, right? Drawn to pile 1, and this has happened on other readings too. Pile 2 may have some things related to me with family or something, but then it goes into another direction. And, you know, my goal is to get it so it's not always about me. And my ancestors are just telling me they love me, you know, they're just letting me know they're here. And it was actually a message I was happy to get, but you know, lots of people are in a situation like I am, I think, where, you know, they have abilities and they're not sure if it's real. They may have a complicated past like I did, mentally. So I decided I would pull an angel card. Thought it would be good for the wrap up. Might give me something good to talk about. I'm trying to make these a little more clean. You know, they tend to get convoluted sometimes. I get like, I start talking about some other thing and it goes off on tangents. So I'm gonna pull a card now. Okay, that's the one that must come out. Live your joy. Thank you, angels, for supporting me as I follow my joy. Well, that's good. There's a glare on it. I'll take a look at it. I'm not sure there's really much that I need to read from there. Do what makes your heart sing. Do what makes you smile. Do it makes you dance and rejoice. Okay. Oh. In that last pile, we had somebody who was possibly in the military, and they were trying to figure out whether they wanted to stay in the military. They had an issue where they were like developing their spirituality, and it was like fighting. They were fighting themselves. They weren't sure if they could carry out like a military mission if they had to. And decisions like that are really difficult. I'd say that you really have to look within you, and you have to sit and be quiet. You just have to sit and listen to you, like what your heart is saying. And if you open yourself enough, you can actually listen to your ancestors. Everybody has this ability. It's not something you have to be psychic for. Everybody's psychic. Just some people are open more than others because they've allowed themselves to be open to it. So what I would say is that the best way to do it is to do it through writing. You have a journal and you write down, dear so-and-so, your ancestor's name, not grandma, not aunt, not uncle, not grandpa, just their first name, okay? They don't like being called grandpa, grandma. They're already in transition to get to the next part of their living, if so to speak. You're like living in the afterlife too. Like you have like a life there too. It's just different. You're not in a body like we are, like in a physical body. You're more like light, being of light. But you take form as a human when you're like visiting your relatives in your dreams, because that's how they remember you. Anyways, you sit with your pen and your paper, and you say, dear, I have a grandpa named Sam, right? It's like, dear Sam, I'm going through this tough time. I need help to think of what to do. And just let yourself write. Just let yourself write. And the first thing that comes out, just let it go. Don't worry if it sounds like somebody's talking to you and they're not there. It's your journal. It's your journal, and you don't have to worry about somebody like looking over your shoulder. You know, like do it in a place where you're alone, truly alone. No one's gonna bother you. And if you can't really be alone, like if you're in a place where you're like absolutely not alone, like you're in a barracks or something, I mean, maybe try to bring it to the bathroom. I don't know, something where people are not going to find you. Although I know the bathroom, sometimes there are other people there. So I've only seen what I've seen in the movies, so I don't know everything, but I know it is hard to get privacy in a military base. You know, there may be something that you can do, an activity or something, like you have some kind of recreation time and you can go off by yourself. And I think in that instance, people would leave you alone if you went on your own and you just said, oh, I'm writing a letter to my girlfriend, right? You say something like that. I'm trying to figure out what to say, so I'm writing a letter to my girlfriend. I'll be right back. And they'll let you alone. They're not going to like bother you if you say that. But what you don't tell them, because most people are not open to this, especially in the military, is that, you know, you're communing with your ancestor. And, you know, people may disagree with me on that. They may say, oh, you have to be open about that. You have to tell everybody. Well, not everybody's ready for that kind of stuff. You know, I'm coming to terms with being a light worker. I'm also a jewelry maker, and I love making jewelry. But to me, the light worker feels something in me that I feel was taken away from me when I had my psychotic break a long time ago, about 10 years or so. Actually, it's longer than that. See, it was 2006, beginning of 2006. It's almost 15 years ago, like 13 or 14 years ago. And a lot of the stuff still sticks with me, and I remember it like it happened yesterday. And so, you know, when I've gathered when I've realized I have these abilities, you know, I question it sometimes because of the fact that I had hallucinations, I had auditory hallucinations, and I had visual hallucinations. Even some sensory ones, I don't know what they're called, but like, you know, smelling things that weren't there. Um, that was an issue too. I would smell like cologne and stuff and it wasn't really there. And it wasn't like an ancestor. I mean, it was something that I dreamed up in my head. And I just want to say this for the record. A hallucination is something that happens against your will, okay? A hallucination is something that seems to come out of nowhere and it's got a lot of pressure and it's painful to go through because it's not supposed to be there. It's something that's your brain that's misfiring is making up. And it's something that, you know, like if you're having a hallucination, you're feeling bad, you're feeling scared, you're feeling panicked, you're feeling like, what is going on here? I'm totally confused. That's the time to go see somebody. That's the time to go to the emergency room. Get yourself evaluated. What happened in my case was that my parents took me to the emergency room and they talked to me, but they decided I wasn't a risk. Like I wasn't going to go hurt somebody or anything. So my parents were allowed to take me home. They gave me pills at home, and then my hallucinations went away within a week. So I didn't have any hallucinations anymore. Um, but you know, now that I think back, I think my psychic abilities were still there. I don't remember what they were. I don't remember what the psychic abilities were, like what I was feeling. But for like a long time, you know, I had nothing to drink. And it was like I had kind of come back to myself and I was intuitive again. And staying away from the people that were bad for me. And then I ended up on another drug they shouldn't have put me on. And I went right back into the patterns I had been in. And my psychic abilities pretty much disappeared again. Because I was numbing myself with alcohol. I still drink, but not like this was. This was like a way out of control drinking that was unusual for me. And I kept telling the doctor, I said, I don't drink like this. This is not how I drink. And they insisted it was a drinking problem. And that drug just messed everything up. It messed up my thyroid. And it made me into an alcoholic. I actually had to go to drug counseling. I volunteered to be in it. I didn't have I wasn't arrested or anything like that. But I ended up in there. It was serious because I wanted it to stop. But really, the best way for it to stop. I mean, drug and alcohol counseling help because I think I do have like a problem. You know, it can be a problem. But um, I had to stop the medicine. I begged them to take me off the medicine. And sure enough, when they took me off the medicine, put me back on the one that worked so well, but made me fat, my drinking stopped. Like it went away like over like a month. I had completely stopped, and I didn't need help to stop. Um, and I think that's when some of my psychic abilities started coming back. In fact, I have this thing that happened that I think really shows that I'm a psychic. Okay. Um, I have this little loom that I made. It has like these prongs and little loops on it. And there's a way to weave with it where like you kind of like go in between the prongs and you go down. It's kind of hard to explain, but I still have it. And I had been working on it for like a month or two. And then me and my mom went to Michael's, and sure enough, that loom was there. Somebody had come up with the exact same thing. So I had channeled that somebody was making that. How does that happen? If you're not psychic in some way? This is weird. You know, like, I had been working on it for months, and then it was there. And I only told, like, one other person about it, and it wasn't enough time for them to go rush tell somebody about it. So, I mean, it was weird. I mean, it was like, how did this happen? It was like the same exact principle, like how it worked. And that's when I knew something was different about me. That's when I was like, you know, there's something in this that happened, but I don't quite know what it is. And I also started to be able to pick up trends on things, like things in crochet world and the knitting world and stuff. Like I was making things, and it was like I would make something, and then there was one there, like in the magazine, and I hadn't seen the magazine yet. And like there'd be a trend, and I didn't see it yet, and then it would show up. This is weird, and it kept happening over and over again. And it was frustrating because I was trying to make money as a crochet designer, and every time I came up with something, it was there. It was somebody had already done it. But now looking back, that's what happened. I was like psychic, and I was absorbing the energy. And I think that's very important to point out here, because I've always felt that I'm more of a general reader, that like I would read for groups of people. Individual one-on-one is not what I feel is my wheelhouse. But to be honest, I don't know. I think what I'd have to do is just try. Like if I wanted to do readings for people, I'm gonna ask my friends if they want me to do a reading for them, and I'll see how they respond. And if they really like it, then maybe I'll offer one-on-one readings. But you have to understand it takes a lot of energy just to do these. I'm only going to be able to put a few in the shop. I'm not going to be able to have a lot of them. I don't have that many subscribers now. I have enough. People know my channels here. But if people really like these dream interpretation ones that I'm planning on, I have to take a breath here, because I'm realizing I turned a corner here. This dream interpretation reading makes a lot of sense for me to do because of my history with mental illness, my history of going through a psychic attack. I was in a situation with really bad manipulative energy, okay? People that were abusive and narcissistic. And I know narcissistic is overused these days, but these people that I dealt with were truly narcissistic. They would do anything to get what they wanted, and it was all about them. They would do anything. They would hurt anybody they could to get to the band. They would, I had this band I was listening to. They would hurt anybody they could to get to the band, to talk to the band, step on anybody. And then they would like bash the band, like talk about them behind their back and how horrible they were. It was weird. And at the time, I wasn't right in the head. My bipolar was really going crazy. So instead of like leaving and saying, well, these people are just stupid, I'm not going to get involved in this, I kept thinking, I have to save the band. The band's going to get hurt. They're going to hurt the band. They're going to do these things. These people were not going to hurt the band. But what they could do is just be corrupt and nasty, and they can manipulate energy in a way that I've never seen before. It's like a cesspool. Like a cesspool of pain and anguish and neediness, wanting to be loved, and then like, because they're not getting the love they want, hurting people to get the love they want from a source that's not really a person, but just a group of people that mean something to them. It is weird. It happens with lots of rock bands. You know, you get these obsessive fans and they go into details about the band, about how they live, how they work, how they play. And it was really weird to me how these people were so into this stuff. But I didn't understand, that I had nothing to do with it. But I was just an observer, really. And instead of being an observer and staying an observer, I didn't shut up. I let out a lot. And they felt like I exposed their issues, their pain, exposed them. My eyebrows going up because I'm like, I'm thinking about this. I exposed them. They were vulnerable. And it was a nightmare for me, because it was like I saw everything that I was feeling too. That I felt like them. I got in with them because I felt like them. It wasn't that I was like them, because I don't think I'm like them. I felt the pain, though. I felt that being left out. I felt that feeling of wanting to cling to somebody. Clinging so much that you're so close, that you're in a sick, needy, dependent relationship with somebody. And it was very unusual for me to see it with a group. I had seen it with just two people, where people were codependent. Like friends I knew, where they were best friends and they were kind of always in fights and stuff, and then they would make up, and then they had this codependent relationship instead of just breaking up and separating. And I had remembered friendships like that when I saw these people, and then it was like, wow, this takes it on a whole new level. In my other readings, I've been channeling manipulative energy, and it's back. This psychic attack style energy of reaching out and grabbing somebody by the heartstrings to get what they want. It's all over social media platforms. It's everywhere. People title things a certain way to get you to click. This is for you. It's scary. I've never seen so many people do that. I don't like that. I don't like that manipulative energy. So like when I see that like on YouTube, I will not click on it. To me that's manipulative. Uh and with my history, to me, when I see that kind of thing, it makes me think of drama. It makes me think of somebody who's going to be dramatic and, well, just not what I would be into. And so this time I don't say anything, like I don't go on their page and say a bunch of shit. But I'm saying it on my channel because it's my channel and I can say it. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just saying when I see titles like that of you need to do this, you need to do that, or you know, something where they're begging you to come in and watch. There's nothing there's not a safe energy exchange there. People need to be open to interpretation, and if somebody is saying it's just directly for you and you don't have a chance to process it as being able to like leave behind what you need and process it as if you're like reading a book and you know you understand some of it and some of it goes out. If you're thinking it's all for you and then like if it doesn't fit, you're gonna feel sick inside. You're gonna feel like there's something wrong. And the manipulative energy I dealt with, I kept trying to fit their energy to mine. I kept trying to say, oh, these people, no, they're not really that bad. They're not really going to hurt anybody. They're really good people. They're, you know, and I was making all these excuses. And manipulative energy is the worst thing you can deal with because it comes off as nice sometimes. It comes off as helpful sometimes. But there's usually some kind of ulterior motive. So just beware when you see a title like, this is for you. You need to listen to this. It's up to you whether to click it or not. But you will never see something like that on my channel. My channel is all about being open to everybody. Everybody can play. Everybody can get something out of this channel. You know, they can get something out of what I say here. And then, you know, you just take what resonates and leave the rest behind. Or if it doesn't resonate at all, you click off, right? You just click off. You say, I'm not going to watch this anymore. But it's something I have been picking up. On one of my other readings, I picked up somebody, it was like a couple days ago. And I've been channeling it for like a couple days, so I think it's a local energy. Somebody has money and people have been like begging them to buy them stuff, something expensive. And like they keep like doing it. Now they're like, okay, my money is dwindling now. And I don't know how to say no to these guys because they're my friends. Like something from high school, you know. But this person has money, so I mean, they're an adult. And they're with adults, but it's like a pack behavior, like a peer group behavior, and it really reminds me of my past, of that manipulative energy. It's, if you've never experienced it, I hope you never experience it. It is the most soul-robbing thing you can go through. When people see the kindness in your heart, they see the gentleness in your heart, and they take advantage of it. Or they just plain squash it, like their idea is to squash it because you might get something they won't. That's bad, you know. And if you're in that situation, the only thing to do is cry out for help. I did that, in my own way. I mean, I was crazy. I had a psychotic break, but I kept asking my parents to help me with it. I always wanted them to help me with the situation, so they tried, and then they finally were able to help me get medicine and stuff for me, because my bipolar was way out of whack. I was absolutely out of it, but there was also some real dark energy, maybe even some dark magic, like magic to manipulate. I can't even, when I think of that particular word, I think it's my least favorite word in a dictionary, just because of what it means. And if you're an empath, you're used to people taking advantage of you. And you think, when is this ever going to stop? When are people going to stop hurting me and stop stepping on me and stop trying to get things from me? And then you have to say, when you stop giving it to them, right? You have to stop giving it to them. You have to stop giving them that permission to knock down your door. You have to stop giving them permission to cross the boundaries. You have to stop giving them permission to your heart. And if they have your heart, then they've got you by the balls, right? Or the ovaries. They got you. And I don't know who I've been channeling on this, but it sounds awful. It sounds like they're in a whirlpool, like the cesspool I talked about earlier. That's why it's so important to live your joy and to always be focused on your joy and not focused on stirring the pot, not focused on being the center of attention in that way of like providing everything for everybody. Not if it's destructive in some way, like drugs or alcohol, and you're like buying everybody's stuff or something. That could be dangerous, but it can also be, there's a manipulative energy in there. Sorry, I keep using the word, but somebody has got a problem and they're being taken advantage of, and it reminds me of what I went through. I don't want whoever's going through this to, they're not going to have a problem. I mean, they're not going to have a psychotic break or anything like that, but I think they're going to have a dark night of the soul, and they're going to find something in themselves, and they're not going to know how to deal with it. That's when you have to go to a therapist. So you have to go to somebody who can kind of lay out the things that you need, help you find the things that you need to work on. Therapist or astrologer or both. Astrologers can help too, although I've been burned by one. I had one that did my sidereal time, and I totally took it word for word, and really it wasn't right for me. So, but astrologers that you can trust can help you too. You can even do your own astrology. If you buy a book, you learn about astrology, you can do your own chart. You can go on astro.com, I think it's called astro.com. You can get your natal chart for free. You just type in your info and it comes up with your chart. So, I mean, there's no excuse not to do that too. But therapy is very good for people. I mean, it's helped me a lot. When I get the right therapist, it's helped a lot. I know I went off on a tangent again, but the reason why I do this work is because I want people to always be able to focus on what they need so they don't fall prey to bad actors, as people call them. Like the people who have an ulterior motive, you know, for talking to you, even for even saying hello, they have an ulterior motive. They have some kind of reason why they want to talk to you. And it's not because they want to talk to you, it's because of what you can provide them. There's something you have, you know. It's it's something that, like, when I realize it, when I see it again, when it comes up in my readings, I'm like, man, I wish you could find whoever this is and just tell them, like, get out of this situation. Like, don't stick around until you have a major problem. But I don't know who I'm reading for, you know. So I think that if there's one thing I learned here today, it's that I have something to offer, and I have history that helps me give insight to things that many people wouldn't have insight on. I feel like I've been on the veil. I've been at the veil between the spirit and the living. I've been there. And it's scary. But I've also been there and it's fulfilled me. So there's like two sides of it. And if you're not prepared to see it, if you're not prepared for it, it can backfire on you, and that's when you get hallucinations and stuff. Now, I did go off drugs. I had like an antidepressant. I went off of them, so it really sparked it. But I think a lot of people are not prepared to face their inner demons. And when you do face your demons, which is like what happened to me, you'll react the way you're going to react. If you're not prepared for it, it can really be a problem. I mean, I had the extra added thing of the drugs, the antidepressant. I went off cold turkey. From what I've been told by my spirit guide, Lauren, I don't know where she went, but I haven't talked to her in a while. Sylvia is a family member who passed away long ago, and she's now part of my spirit tribe. But anyways, Lauren told me that what it was like some kind of school. Like, it was a school, it was a lesson, and I had like 2 lessons that I could choose between. And I chose that particular one with the rock band. I don't know what the other lesson would have been. Probably would have been Morse, whatever it was. But the lesson was for me to learn when to trust people, when not to trust people, how much information to let out about myself, what I should keep to myself. And it wasn't supposed to go past the point it did. It wasn't supposed to go to the point it did. It was supposed to be a time where I would have just seen something and left. But instead, I got sucked into like this vortex, going back and back. And I kept seeing parts of myself, and I was like curious about them, but they were like all the worst parts of myself. And I kept seeing it and being curious. And the lesson was not supposed to include that. All I was supposed to get to was like talking to some people and seeing they were mean, and I was seeing that wasn't right, and so I left. I was supposed to leave after that. But instead, I ended up being attracted to that negativity, and because I was in this drama cycle, I wanted the drama. That was partly the bipolar, Bipolar disorder will do that to you. You start craving that kind of thing. And it was really tough. I mean, it was a mix of psychic attack and mental illness stuff going on. So it was a double whammy. And I wasn't supposed to have that break. I wasn't supposed to go on those antidepressants. I was supposed to tell the therapist I was seeing that I had bipolar, that I thought I had bipolar, and then she would have helped me. And that would have eased the transition. And I don't know if I would have had a job and all that. But it wasn't supposed to be like that. It wasn't supposed to get to that point where I had like went off the deep end. So it took a long time to get back on my feet. And I mean, now I'm doing something that I didn't expect to do. But maybe I just made it work. Maybe I got extra credit points. I don't know. I keep thinking like this thing with this person, Mr. I call him the twin flame, that all the time that we're apart, all the time that I'm working on myself and he's doing whatever he's doing, that I get extra credit points for working on myself. That all the time away from him is time I get extra credit, extra vacation time, right? So, it's just funny. I felt good to laugh. Oh my god. I just feel like I had to mention that stuff. I had to mention it for somebody out there. Somebody needs to know that, to recognize those signs. You feel physically sick inside when you're around somebody. That's a sign that you don't want to be around them anymore. You don't want to be around them. I'm not talking about like somebody is sick and they smell bad or something. I mean, that's one thing. That's a whole other thing. I mean, somebody is just got a nasty energy and you feel like, ugh. Like, I don't want to be around this. Your hair stands up on your neck and your arms. You just bristle, and you're like, oh, no, this is not right. You got to get in touch with that. If you don't get in touch with that, then you're going to be facing your demons to the point that you could actually become a demon for a while. And that's what happened to me. It was like I was a demon. I mean, I was like just out of control. And I don't know, I think somebody used some kind of energy somewhere along the line, maybe even something occult, I don't know what. But I don't usually believe that can happen. I usually believe that there's like a definite light and that the darkness is made up by all of us on the earth. But there are times when I think, man, maybe there is something out there that's just malefic. That's just like a black hole. I mean, there is the black hole in space, so I guess, it could stem from that black hole. There's some kind of energy, there's a dead energy, it's just dead, and so it pulls and pulls until it causes decay. So I guess I answered my own question. There is a malefic energy. I don't want to say devil. I think it's different than that. I think it's like light and dark. And there's like energy that's light, and then there's dark energy. But the dark energy is not beings, it's more like a big hole, like the black hole. It's just like a big suck. It sucks everything up. People get trapped in it. And that's when they start pulling other people into it. And that's where you get all these patterns people develop over time. Like abusive patterns where somebody was hurtful to their significant other and their kids saw it. and the kid grows up, and they do the same thing. It's the black hole. It's the death. It's the pulling in the pull. The pull to find your demons, like to follow where the demons go. Because there's excitement there. But what most people don't realize is that there's also excitement with happiness. There's excitement with the small joys. And in this one of these readings, the Seven of Cups came up. And that's like the small joys card for me. I actually like that card because to me it's like all the memories you have, and then it's like you pick which one you really like and you concentrate on that. And so in pile 2, I think that's the one it came up in. That there was a message in there about that. Probably towards the middle of the message if you don't want to watch the whole thing. So I think I'll pull one more card. I'll pull one from Notes from the Universe, okay? So I feel like this has been very heavy, and I didn't expect it to get this heavy, but you know, it was a heavy reading. Some of my ancestors came in, and I'm not used to it, you know. Oops. I'm not used to it. Oopsies. And I'm just getting used to this, so do this. I feel like a blackjack dealer. You know, I'm gonna deal the cards. Yeah, I taped this part, the wrap up, on my computer. And so I got like this tiny amount of desk space. So let's see here. Oh, there's a jumper. That's good. I like that. That means spirits awake. They're like, yeah, we want you to see this now. You thought we were talking to you before. Now we really want you to talk. So, I'm sorry you guys are stuck with me. They chose you. You might not readily believe this. It might even spook you a bit. But there are those who choose this very lifetime in large part knowing you'd be there. Now that's what we call a reputation. Hugs, the universe. Oh, thank you, universe. And I said that right after the black hole comment. They said that after that. That's pretty cool. So, remember, somebody chose you. Now, whether they chose you for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, you have to decide that. And if they chose you for the right reasons, then keep them. If they chose you for the wrong reasons, then let them go. Just let them be. Let them be. Let them have it. That's what I used to tell myself after, like, I processed everything. Say these people are spoiled rotten. Let them have it. Let them have the band. Let them have the whatever. And I'm going to have my stuff here. That's what you have to do. Just keep that in your head. Let them have it. Surrender that. Surrender to let them have their day. You could even think of it like let them have their judgment day, right? You put it that way, you put the karma in there. It puts even more emphasis on it. And now you don't want to get ahead of yourself and think, well, I'm so much better. It's not about that. It's more like I'm not going to hurt somebody to get what I want. I may hurt people unintentionally, but I'm not trying to intentionally hurt somebody. I hurt somebody because I'm human. I did something wrong. There's a difference between that and like I hurt someone because I want to get something. I want to get my way. Does it really, you see the difference? So, you know, like if you go through life and you face your demon, if you follow the curiosity, you have to find a healthy way to follow the curiosity. And if you don't have a healthy way to follow it, then you need to get help, okay? You need to like find somebody and talk to them about it. And I did that. I talked about this thing that happened with the band and talked about them every single day. Until my parents just finally took me to the emergency room because they knew I had gone crazy. And I was just trying to cry out for help. So, like, if you find yourself talking about something incessantly over and over and over again, like that, you're obsessed with a rock band, or you're obsessed with a book, or you're obsessed with something, and you talk about it constantly, that could be a sign that you need to get some help. Because that's not right. That's not supposed to happen. Nobody should get deeply obsessed and entrenched in something that is going to disturb their soul. And my soul was disturbed deeply, and a long time I blamed all those people for it. But I look back, and I think I just was very naive, and I trusted people that I thought I could trust. I trusted the wrong people, and so I paid dearly for it. And I can't prevent anybody from trusting the wrong people. I think sometimes some people, they have a karmic partner, or they have karmic friendships where they're meant to teach you something. It's like an ugly relationship or an ugly friendship, and it's meant to teach you something. And once you have kind of mastered that feeling of not wanting to follow the demons anymore, you're going to start attracting better people into your life, and you're going to attract yourself again. You're going to find yourself again. You're going to see yourself as worthy of love and affection and caring, and like even just having a joyful life. And being joyful feels just as good as being sinful, you know? It does. So, I know this got serious, but I feel like the reading was really serious. At least the last part was, the last one was. Um, so, until the next time, take care and blessings.